At least 235 people are dead, and tens of thousands are still missing tonight, after not one but two major earthquakes hit Venezuela's coast 39 seconds apart. The footage coming out is hard to take in. Apartment towers pancaked into stacks of concrete. A girl pulled from a 10-story building that flattened on top of her. A mother collapsing as the bodies of her two children are carried past in blankets. Families digging through their own homes with bare hands because the rescue crews hadn't arrived yet. And right now, as you watch this, the clock that decides who lives and who dies is running out. Here's what makes this disaster so cruel. It wasn't one quake. The strongest event was a magnitude 7.5, about 28 kilometers southeast of Yumare, at a depth of about 10 kilometers, and it followed a magnitude 7.2 quake, about 23 kilometers southeast of Yumare. Two of the most powerful earthquakes this country has felt in over a century, back to back, before anyone had time to even get out of a doorway. In La Guera, retired schoolteacher Juan Alberto Mendaño climbed through wreckage and past a dead body when he spotted a woman who was trapped and signaling with her hand for help. That's the scene across the entire northern coast right now. Strangers, neighbors, retired teachers pulling people out one slab at a time, because for the first day in many places, that was the only rescue effort there was. Let me take you back to the moment it started, because the timeline is the whole story. The first earthquake at magnitude 7.2 struck near the town of San Felipe, about 100 miles west of Caracas, shortly after 6 p.m. It was rush hour. People were home, in malls, on the road. Ana Sofer, who lives in Los Palos Grandes in Caracas, was driving past a shopping mall when the first earthquake struck. She saw people running from inside the mall, then a big cloud of sand, and she started doing breathing exercises because her whole body was shaking. She was breathing through the first one. She didn't know the second was coming. 39 seconds later, the more powerful quake, a magnitude 7.5, struck near the town of Yumare. Think about what 39 seconds means. It's not enough time to run downstairs. It's not enough time to get your kids out of an apartment. It's barely enough time to realize the first one was real before the ground hits you a second time, harder. And here's the technical detail that turned this into a massacre. The USGS calls this a doublet. This event was the main shock of a severe seismic doublet sequence. And a doublet, two earthquakes of similar magnitude that occur close in time and proximity, likely indicates a complex rupture interaction process. In plain terms, one fault broke, and the stress it dumped onto the rock next door snapped that fault too, almost instantly. Two ruptures, seconds apart, shaking the same cities twice. Now add the depth. The doublet occurred at a shallow depth of about 10 kilometers, which likely contributed to the intensity of the shaking. Shallow is the killer word. The energy didn't dissipate going up through the crust, it slammed almost straight into the buildings overhead. And these aren't earthquake-engineered buildings. A strong, shallow quake striking so close to dense urban centers points to significant property losses, compounded by the region's older, largely unreinforced masonry building stock. That's why you keep hearing one word from the rescuers: pancake. In La Guera, Caracas Metropolitan Rescue Team head Jose Luis Núñez said a girl was found in a 10-story building that collapsed and flattened like a pancake. When a building pancakes, the floors don't lean or crack. They drop flat, one onto the next, with everyone inside, in the gaps between. Here's what isn't making the headlines. The capital got the attention, but the worst of it happened on the coast. The coastal area near the international airport, around the cities of La Guera, Catia la Mar, and Carabaleta, appears to have sustained by far the worst damage, with a string of large tower blocks leveled and people desperately hunting for missing loved ones. A UN agency reported more than 100 buildings collapsed in the La Guera region alone, including a large block of flats called the Ridasol Palace and the Seafront, Edwards Hotel. And those missing include children as young as 5. In some cases, families of 4 or 5 people have simply disappeared. Entire households, gone in under a minute. And the place this hit is no stranger to catastrophe. La Guera is no stranger to natural disasters. A 1999 mudslide killed thousands there and is considered one of the country's worst natural disasters. The same narrow strip of coast, buried again. Now here's where the math gets frightening, and where you need to understand why every hour counts. Historically, the first 48 to 72 hours after a quake are widely regarded as the golden window to reach people buried alive. Experts say the chances of survival without a water source diminish rapidly after the first 48 to 72 hours of someone being trapped. The quakes hit Wednesday evening. Do that math. That window is closing right now as we speak. And for the first crucial hours, the help wasn't there. Venezuelan state TV showed dramatic images of rescues, including a woman trapped under a cement slab with only a bare foot poking out before rescuers slid her out alive. But few government search teams were initially seen outside Caracas. In downtown Caracas, hundreds spent the night huddled in parks and parking lots. Mother of three, Diana Delgado, asked where the heavy machinery the government had promised was, saying residents were the ones digging through crumpled buildings. "I want to know where my child is. If he's trapped or in a shelter," she said, of her missing 8-year-old son. That's the gap a foreign rescue surge is now racing to fill. And the country leading it is one that, until very recently, was Venezuela's enemy. The U.S. military is on the ground for the relief effort, just months after seizing Maduro in a deadly raid in January. Let that sink in. The same Southern Command that ran operations here is now flying in to save lives here. Southcom said it is surging available assigned U.S. forces in the region, directing significant forces including the amphibious transport ship USS Fort Lauderdale and the littoral combat ship USS Billings. U.S. Marine Corps MAJ, General Kevin J. Jarrett arrived in Caracas to oversee Department of War support to the relief efforts. On top of that, the U.S. pledged $150 million in aid, a $100 million contribution to a UN humanitarian fund, and $50 million to aid organizations already working in the country. And the elite digging teams are the ones that matter most when the clock is this tight. Urban search and rescue teams from Fairfax County, Virginia, and Los Angeles County are mobilizing Fairfax, sending 80 people and 6 dogs, and the Los Angeles County Fire Department, a team of 71 people and 6 canines. But here's the problem nobody planned for. The front door is broken. The country's main airport is in La Guaira, and it was closed due to damage, complicating aid efforts. The gateway every rescue team and every ton of equipment needs to land at is itself a casualty. And it's not just the United States. Rescue teams are racing to Venezuela's shattered northern coast, with thousands of people feared dead. The Chilean Air Force deployed 2 flights with 30 rescuers, and video from Venezuelan authorities showed dozens of Mexican personnel and rescue dogs arriving. Spain reported at least 3 of its nationals killed and 99 missing, with 4 more trapped under the rubble. So why does the official death toll still say 235 when the search has barely begun? Because that number is a floor, not a ceiling. Those tolls could continue to rise given the extensive damage, and the U.S. Geological Survey estimates the death toll could be in the thousands and possibly more than 10,000. And the missing numbers are staggering. A website created to track missing people and shared by opposition leaders listed more than 46,000 people as unaccounted for. 46,000 names. Most of them, families just don't know yet, couldn't reach a phone, couldn't get information. Because there's one more cruel layer here. Venezuela has one of the most restricted media landscapes in the world, and more than 200 websites in the country are blocked, including local and international news and social media. A nation trying to find its missing while half blindfolded. And the danger hasn't stopped. The USGS warned aftershocks could continue for days, estimating a 99% chance of a magnitude 4 or greater aftershock, a 98% chance of a magnitude 5 or greater, and a 43% chance of a magnitude 6 or greater within a week. For a population already sleeping outdoors, those follow-on shocks are the immediate danger, threatening structures left weakened by the initial doublet. So tonight the questions are brutal and open. How many of those 46,000 are still breathing in a pocket under the concrete? Will the rescuers reach them before the golden window slams shut? And what happens when the next magnitude 6 aftershock hits a coastline of buildings already cracked to the core? Right now, the digging hasn't stopped. The dogs are still working the rubble in La Guaira. The transport planes are still landing, and somewhere under a flattened 10-story building, someone is still waiting for a hand to reach through. The death toll is expected to climb, and the moment the next official count comes in or that missing list shifts, we'll bring it to you before anyone else does.